Hey, what's up, Internet? I'm Tor the Mash Extreme.
And I'm Ghost Hunter Dave.
And this is IMPERIUS REX. On this episode, we will be discussing the highly anticipated second entry in the DC Entertainment Universe.
Yep.
DCEU, some people call it.
Mm-hmm.
Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice.
It finally happened.
Finally. Hit the music. So as you both know.
Well, that might be more accurate then.
So as you all know, we saw Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and boy, what a ride it's been.
Did that justice dawn?
So Dave.
Yeah?
What happened in Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice?
What was it about?
Yeah.
How much time you have?
Well,
It was...
How much tape we got on these things?
But the general plot is it picks up after Man of Steel. Metropolis is kind of in shambles after Superman fought Zod to the death for, you know, the betterment of mankind, despite fan reaction there. So he's, like, the world is holding him accountable, basically, for his actions. He has too much power. Bruce Wayne, not happy about that, says, hey, this guy, he's, you know, if he snaps, we're done for.
Sure.
He could wipe us all out. So it's Bruce, Lex Luthor, a couple other people all kind of deciding we gotta put something in place to be able to control Superman if he were to get out of line.
And that takes us...
Maybe halfway through it.
So this movie dropped, and boy, did it have like a mixed reaction.
Mixed reviews would be putting it kindly.
Yeah.
In fact, no, it was not met with mixed reviews. It was met with overwhelmingly negative reviews.
Yeah.
For a movie that a lot of people have been looking forward to for 3 years in the making.
Yeah.
Oh, man. The internet has not been kind to this movie.
If anyone out there listens to a podcast I do with another friend, we've been talking about this movie since it's been a thing to be a movie.
Yeah, since you've started the contest.
The contest for being a podcast.
Who can make a podcast the longest.
But you could just follow my thoughts as each and every bits of news dropped, and you can see my enthusiasm wane and wave. And this last maybe 6 months, I stuck at you know what? It's gonna be a movie.
Whatever it's gonna be, it'll be over. It'll be over, and we'll move on with our lives very shortly. Huge opening weekend, though.
Huge opening weekend. I think I saw 83 million domestic.
Yeah, the reviews have not stopped people from seeing it.
Yeah,
which is good.
But with two huge characters like Batman and Superman, everyone's gonna see it anyway.
Yeah.
They're the two most popular characters in comics anyway throughout the world.
So Troy, let's not beat around the bush.
Okay.
At the count of 3, here's what we're gonna do. This is impromptu, people. This is live, pre-recorded material. We're gonna just the Siskel and Ebert method, the tried and true movie review. On the count of 3, just shoot your thumb up or down on your overall opinion of it.
Got it.
Ready?
Yeah.
1,
2,
3. Oh, we're gonna have an old-fashioned Ving.
It's Troy v.
Well,
Dave.
that's a show.
Troy v. Dave today.
Yes.
I left the showing of this, and I immediately turned to Dinosaur Neil, and I go, I fucking hated that movie. That movie was a mess. I kept checking my phone, where are we at in the story? And my showing started at 9:45 p.m. And by 11:30, they still haven't done anything yet.
Took him a while to V.
It took them a long time to V.
Mm-hmm.
By the time they do start Ving, it's like one long fight scene until the end, essentially. Until they epilogue it up at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And before they even get there, I thought the movie was a choppy mess. It had so many flashback scenes or dream sequences and stuff that did nothing for the plot.
Kind of had the Iron Man 2 syndrome of they sidelined a story to set up a larger universe.
Yes, they did that, especially the last chunk of it.
Now, I liked the movie overall. It is not without its share of problems, which we'll address. But I enjoyed it as a comic book fan, as a fan of Batman, Superman, all of those, to see them on screen. I thought it wasn't the definitive take of them.
No.
But I was happy with what I got there. I wasn't longing for anything differently. But there that moment, I think where Wonder Woman pulls up the files on the computer, and it's basically just like a bunch of Easter eggs for future Justice League members. We should mention we were gonna not spoil anything, but that
we can just put a spoiler review in the front of the show.
All right, yeah. Where she just opens up the files and they just show you like
metahuman data. They're cool by themselves, I'll give it that, but they would work better as DVD extras rather than shoehorned into a movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, unnecessary. We had enough going on. We didn't need to see those two. Although I didn't mind Flash's cameo, where he comes back.
Really weird, though.
Yeah, it was, but I kind of like that, because I didn't know, I didn't expect that for the Flash cameo.
I didn't expect it. I didn't expect that at all either, but did it really happen? Because it happens, and then Bruce Wayne wakes up.
Mm-hmm.
So was it Inception-y dream stuff?
Yeah, it was a dream within a dream, essentially.
But both, they're not really dream states, because both of them suggest what is happening in the future.
Mm-hmm. So
it's like he's having weird, clairvoyant thoughts about things that they're trying to set up in the future Justice League movies.
Yeah.
They weren't just dreams.
No.
And even
premonitions, you would say.
Yeah, and even in Batman's dream, he is more of a dick. Batman was the most off character in this whole thing. He was a violent, torturing... He was the Punisher.
He was Frank Miller's Batman.
Yeah, but even in Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns, he doesn't kill anybody.
Yeah, he does kill some people in this.
A lot of people
up.
in this. I mean, tortures a guy. You saw in the trailers where the guy is strung up on the radiator. He's already been beaten, and then Batman burns him.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? This is not Batman at all. Even in the Dark Knight Returns, sure, he might shuriken a few guys' hands, but he doesn't go out and kill anybody.
He breaks legs, he cripples people, and laughs about
it. He doesn't break their neck. Or drive in his bat plane and destroy a whole line of cars, murdering everybody.
Mm-hmm. I told you, it was not the definitive take on the characters. I also said I was okay with it. Because you're okay with Tim Burton's Batman.
But there was a different time.
Factories.
It's a different time. It's like the old Fleischer Superman cartoon where he can just be racist because it came out in World War II. You don't expect that to come out now.
No.
But it worked for the time.
Mm-hmm. You almost have to give the movies a little bit more leeway on the heroes do not kill angle than in the comics. Because in the movies, seeing this again and again, where these guys are just brutal hitmen, they're slaughtering people, or the Joker, for instance. Eventually this becomes a problem that Batman hasn't just killed these guys yet.
Sure.
When it's a life or death situation, and it's either kill this bad guy or an innocent could die, any normal person would be that's no contest. And I'm not saying that was the right idea to bring into the movie universe, but I can see why they did it. Maybe it's easier, maybe it's a little more realistic in a superhero movie full of flying people and capes and all that. But, it's not the comic book. It's the movie version of the comic book.
Right.
And there's some liberties they have to take.
And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with Superman killing Zod at the end of Man of Steel.
Yeah, I am too. Thought it was a weird setup, but I have no problem with the fact that he did it.
No.
And he was early in his career.
It was his first day.
Yeah, he hasn't become all-star Superman yet.
Right. But Batman, I don't know. I just felt like it was way off target.
Okay.
Let's talk about Superman for a little bit.
All right.
Superman, I felt also wasn't the definitive one. He was more on target of what people would expect from comic books, except that he's really scary and angry sometimes. I didn't like the way Snyder did that. He's supposed to be a character for hope, and he's kind of just sad and mopey because people don't like him.
Yeah, there's no hope in this movie whatsoever.
No, there's not even a ray of sunshine.
No,
literally in this movie.
The entire movie is a gray monochrome. Even during the daylight, somehow they've managed to desaturate so much. Like the costumes don't shine. It is just a dark, hopeless feeling movie.
It almost looks out of place when Superman comes through because he's got this vibrant blue costume and everyone's like this shade of gray beside him. Like when he walks into the courtroom.
Yeah.
Like, it looks bizarre. So, with Batman and Superman out of the way, what other characters did you maybe like or dislike?
You know, I liked Wonder Woman in it a lot.
I liked Wonder Woman too, actually, yeah.
And she gets to be kind of like the Wolverine character in this. The fun just comes in for a scrap and, has a couple one-liners. Yeah. But I thought they used her really well. When I heard that they were putting Wonder Woman in it years ago, it's like, what? No, we don't need that. But I thought she was great. My only complaint would be if I didn't know she was going to be in this, it would have been an amazing reveal when Batman is looking at his computer, the files that he stole from LexCorp, and he gets to her photo during World War I, and she's in the full Wonder Woman costume. If you didn't know that was her, and maybe you thought that character was like Selena Kyle or someone that he was talking with earlier in like civilian clothes, that would have been such a cool reveal. Like the music score was great there. Like it bumped up to this almost rock soundtrack when it shows her with like her, her Howling Commandos essentially behind her. I was like, oh, that is cool. Like that was a cool moment. It was cool. And if I didn't know she was going to be in this, I would have like just lost it there. And I don't even really care about Wonder Woman, but she was great in that. Yeah. The actress was good. Yeah, her part at the end where she drops in every trailer where they kind of give all that away. Yeah. And then they have the line, I thought she was with you type of thing. I was like, that's lame. In the movie, in context, I had no problem with it.
It works a lot
worked.
better.
I thought that little bit of humor was fine. Yeah. The second trailer, they loaded with the humor. And I was like, they're making this look like a Marvel movie, and it's not. And it all felt out of place. But seeing all those moments in the context of the movie where they're not like jokes, they're just little, little
one-offs.
It fits much better.
It does.
I had no problem with any of those moments in the movie itself. But her part was great. Like, she was this warrior badass, didn't overstay her welcome, and she was like my biggest surprise out of it.
I actually really liked Eisenberg's Lex Luthor.
That was my second one. I liked that a lot too.
Up until a point, I didn't really like him at the very end, near like when they're wrapping stuff up,
where he has to become the villain of the movie. Yeah. Up until then, he's all right.
But I really liked his neuroticism and stuff. Like he was supposed to like base his mannerisms off Max Landis, and I thought he nailed it right on. And maybe knowing that going in, I liked his performance more, because if you're looking for a classic Lex Luthor, you're not going to get it. But this is perfect. Like he's still intelligent. He's pieced all this shit together for all these metahumans out there. He knows everyone's secret identities.
But he has psychological problems. He's neurotic and all this. And you can see, like, he has a reason to hate Superman, because Superman doesn't get flustered in a speech or something like that. Yeah. He was great in it. And you needed, we kind of talked about this earlier, you need a character who's a little bit more energetic and flamboyant in a movie full of so many dark and gloomy characters. If we had the traditional, like stockbroker Lex Luthor, it would have just been a bore fest. You need to have someone else in the mix to...
a little more high energy.
Yeah.
I'd agree. I also liked this interpretation of Alfred. He wasn't like a stray from anything.
Yeah, shit, I forgot. He's great in it too.
Yeah.
Yep. Jeremy Irons, fantastic in everything other than life, apparently, because he's a bit of a homophobe, I guess. But he was great in this.
Yeah. I didn't necessarily like this interpretation of Perry White in it.
Didn't mind him. He's so much of it like a.
I know he's like a side character, but I felt in Man of Steel he was like, he had a goal in mind to like better this paper and like the news or whatever. Yeah. But like in this, he was just like another J. Jonah Jameson. Like at one point, I turned to Neil and said, "Give me pictures of Spider-Man."
I was surprised with how much screen time he had in it. Actually, I was like, he's not really essential to this. I didn't mind any part he was in. Right. I thought he was fine. Yeah. I thought it was right off the bat. I thought it was hilarious that Bruce Wayne is driving. The city is falling apart around him. He's calling his company on the phone. They're all looking out the window and buildings fall down. And he's like, "Jack, get out of there now!" And he's like, okay, everybody, let's go.
What are you still doing in there?
Master Wayne says we can take off early today. Let's all evacuate the building. Like, why are there people in the building? Like, the building next to them is collapsing, and they're just like, it's not 4 o'clock yet. Wayne is a stickler for that time clock. I thought that was ridiculous.
I thought that was ridiculous too.
Small gripe, you know, these are dumb superhero movies, but in the same time, it's very much not a dumb superhero movie, or at least it presents itself as a very dark intellectual movie every chance it gets. Whether or not it succeeds, he was definitely trying.
Yeah.
You know, like the opening credits, I have never seen a more just low-key, prestigious typography that says Batman versus Superman Dawn of Justice.
Whatever.
It just looked like Times New Roman font or something. The most low-key.
It was very minimalist.
Yes,
and it was like
minimalist.
really weird.
Really artsy opening with Bruce Wayne's flashbacks to his parents getting killed, and then that like surreal floating out of the Batcave.
I almost was like, no! Like when that happened, no! Because if he didn't say, and that's the dream I keep having, immediately after that happened, I'm like, what the fuck is going on in this movie already?
It was 2 minutes in. It was artsy.
It was quite artsy.
He was going for, a very, very prestigious take on... That's it. Like, this whole movie treats it so seriously. Yeah. And I like that, you know?
Yeah, it's fine.
Most audiences, I don't think, want their superhero movies to be this serious and earnest, as Kevin Smith says. He said the Nolan movies were earnest. My God, this is earnest, scared, stupid.
Thank God you made an earnest joke, because I was going to go there too. But I didn't have a problem with Man of Steel being so earnest. Like, so I didn't. Earnest. It was... This just... I don't know. It didn't work for me. Like, the edit... I don't know what they did editing-wise. It just felt really disjointed at times.
It was uneven.
And I didn't really need to see another Batman's parents' death scene. It didn't really do anything. I didn't need
it, but it was only the opening credits. Like, if they're going to put it in, let's knock it out early and get it over with. Yeah. I can't even say for the 3 people that don't know Batman's origin, because everybody knows Batman's origin. There's no one seeing this movie that's like, how do you get to be Batman? You get bit by a bat?
Yeah, it's true.
The pacing, very uneven. And it's a 2.5-hour movie. Here's one thing maybe it's to its detriment, maybe it's the opposite. Mm-hmm. By the time all the shit goes down at the end, it felt like I just watched this movie for a month. Yeah. Like, but if it didn't feel like that, then I would have walked away being like, that seemed to wrap up, or all that seemed to happen way too quick. Like, what went on felt like it covered a large span of time, and a lot went down. Yeah. It wasn't like, oh man, they sure met each other and fought quick. Yeah. Like, it seemed like this was a long time building, and it jumped around a lot, and the pacing was kind of all over the place, and it wasn't just like a 3-act structure. Like, it felt almost like a documentary about what was happening in Metropolis and Gotham at that time, and it had highs and lows. I'm curious whether the extra half hour of the Ultimate Cut, when it comes out on DVD, is going to fix any of the pacing, or if it's just going to make it feel more bloated.
Yeah, I don't even know, because, like, after I got out of there, like, I had such negative thoughts about it that I was like, well, I'll catch this movie again when it's on TBS. Like,
the music, the quirky music cues, I liked. Again, it felt very, like, artsy. It didn't feel like a superhero movie whatsoever.
Yeah. Hans Zimmer is really good.
Yeah, I loved it.
And I love his Superman score.
Weird, like, piano keys and violin cues that were just, like, off-putting almost. And then, like, once, you know, like, the heroic theme was just this weird, like, guitar scratching and screeching.
Especially when Wonder Woman came in.
Yeah, I liked all that. Yeah. You know, it didn't look, feel, or sound like a superhero movie.
No. If I could.
Please do.
I would... This is kind of an overall thing. You could put this whenever you want. But, I would dub Batman v Superman the sucker punch of Superman films. Or of superhero films.
In what regard?
That it's artsy and tries to do stuff that doesn't really need to be there, and that contrives the plot.
It reaches for concepts that it doesn't have the mental capacity to grasp.
Yeah.
I thought all the themes that it covered were good, you know, like the whole absolute power corrupts absolutely type of thing, and you know, they covered a lot in terms of like, should Superman act in these situations?
Yeah.
You know, what does a good man do if he has his power and wants to help people, but then they're trying to govern what he does?
I like those.
And it's not like a traditional Superman story. I think that's it. Like, Superman doesn't normally wrestle with like legislation.
No,
you know?
But I was kind of glad that it came to that, and he would just be like, I will be here to go through the process because I believe that this works, because he's an American superhero or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So when they did do like, and put on that idea, does all this power, like, should it be in the hands of one man? And when they were going through all that legislation, I'm like, yeah, like, go ahead, like, knock this idea out of the park. And I don't think they ever did.
No, well, once the Capitol gets blown up, they kind of drop that.
Yeah. That was actually really surprising.
I thought that was a great scene.
Me too.
That was an evil Lex Luthor moment. I thought that whole thing, like, that is one of the examples of what I liked about it, how it plays out very awkwardly.
Yeah.
Where she, like, sees it and it's a slow reveal on the glass.
Yep.
And then she pieces it together and he's not there, and then before anything can happen, boom.
Yeah.
Like, it was just it
was cool.
I thought the movie, overall, I liked it. You did not.
No.
I admit it has its share of problems, but I thought it had a lot of really good moments. And, you know, we're talking about legislation and shit like that.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, some good takeaways of a movie, Superman versus Batman, is, like, when the action picks up, man, like, I liked it. You know,
there till the end.
Seeing them all finally come together, like the Batman versus Superman fight, it was okay. It didn't knock my socks off.
No, it didn't.
But then when Wonder Woman came in and the three of them stand together, like, I just smiled. You know, the music kicked up. It was really a cool looking shot, and I was like, I've been waiting for this. You know, whatever the problems the movie had, it has this moment that I've been waiting to see for years.
It's true.
And it was really cool.
Yeah.
And, like, we got Doomsday in it. Didn't need to have Doomsday, but as a comic fan, I would like to see him at some point. Throw him in this. He doesn't make a huge impact, other than fucking kill Superman at the end.
Which, holy shit, spoiler, but that was the one story. Is that what you texted me?
I said every website right now is doing, like, top 10 essential, and we did this too. What you should read before you do this.
Yeah.
None of them
had
put in Death of Superman. And, like, it's so obvious because there's Doomsday in it. And no one had any idea that, like, well, I mean, it's kind of ridiculous. They're going to kill him in the second movie.
Yeah.
But, like, it is full-on Death of Superman at the end there.
Yeah.
Like, it follows that more than it follows Dark Knight Returns in terms of, like, what it borrows from.
Yeah. I felt... by that point, I was almost exhausted and almost fed up with the movie, so it didn't have an emotional payoff at the end enough for me. But I was really surprised when I saw Doomsday had Superman impaled, and I'm like, oh shit.
Uh-oh.
They really went for it there.
Some other negatives from me. I thought the plan to get them to fight was a little contrived.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, guys, we don't have a whole lot of time left in this 2.5 hour movie. We should probably get to it.
Get to Ving.
Yeah, and Luthor kidnaps his Clark's mother.
Which I thought was really dark.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
The photos of her who was like, I don't feel like I should be watching this. There was like a little kid in the audience that was going to the bathroom a couple times during the movie, and I was just thinking, like, I bet that kid's not having an ounce of fun in this movie. Because it is not a kid's movie whatsoever.
No, it's not.
I thought Lex creating Doomsday was kind of weird.
I thought that was weird,
I don't mind that he did it, but I didn't quite get why, like, his blood had anything to do with it. Maybe that gets fleshed out more in the deleted, or the extended cut.
I wanted to find out, like, more... Like, when he got into the Kryptonian ship, he used Zod's fingerprints to get in initially. And then he just kind of took over the ship?
Like, I mean, that was just... At that point in the movie, it would be just pure exposition.
Yeah.
So I can see why they would have to cut that.
Sure.
But it seemed like there's a lot of unanswered questions to just, like, why would he think putting Zod's body in there mixed with his blood would create Doomsday?
Or do anything.
And why would he want to do that? He talks about, like, if you can't kill God, then have the devil do it. So he made, like, a worse Superman.
Yeah.
But it's like, if he doesn't like Superman, why would he want a worse Superman?
Yeah,
That's like, why would that be any better?
That's what my wife said. She was like, what was his end game there?
Yeah.
Like, to make this huge hulking monster to kill Superman? Then
And
what?
kill everyone else? Like, yeah. I thought this did, like, everything that I wanted to see in this movie.
Mm-hmm.
It had it. It had a lot of stuff that I didn't know I wanted and didn't really need to see around it.
Sure.
Had a lot of padding
Mm-hmm.
to flesh it out, and I feel like maybe they wanted to legitimize it more and give it more plot and more, like, you know, it didn't need it, you know.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't hurt it, in my opinion, but it made it longer than it needed to.
Yeah.
But, like, the stuff I wanted to see, Batman fighting Superman,
Yeah.
Wonder Woman, Lex Luthor, that was all there.
Yeah.
It took some time. You had to earn it by the end of it. Some people, by the time they got there, like, I didn't want it that bad, you know what? But for me, as a comic book fan, a Batman Superman fan, a fan of, like, the darker superhero movies, it was fine. I could have watched it for another half hour. It's like the Hobbit movies. I don't give a shit about Lord of the Rings. They're fine, you know, but I have a hard time sitting through that. But the people that love that, they eat it up. They're like, oh, I could spend another 3 hours in this universe. That's kind of how I felt about this. Like,
Okay.
I just like it. I like seeing them on screen.
Okay.
That's how I felt about Watchmen. Loved the Watchmen movie, but people had the same problem. Oh, it's too long. It's like, well, I like it. It can be long.
I like
don't
it.
care. I want more of it.
But with Watchmen, though, like, that was a direct interpretation. Same with, like, 300, which I think Zack Snyder is like, here's the source material, I'm gonna make this.
Yeah, he's best when he has some help.
Yeah.
And he had help on this, you know, like...
I think he had too much help. Like,
Yeah, could be.
Too much cooks in the kitchen.
Mm-hmm. Score was good, Lex was good, everyone was good. Overall, Troy gives it a thumbs down.
Bad.
Alright, so that's it. There it is. The movie we've been waiting 3 years for is out. Nobody liked it except me, apparently. And I'm not over the moon about it, but, you know, come on. Maybe my opinion will change. Maybe I'll like it more the second time. Who knows? I'm a wild card when it comes to stuff like that.
Really true.
But I don't know, I gravitate towards superhero movies that take themselves a little bit more seriously. Even though people say, like, oh, it's pretentious, it's bullshit. I prefer something like this to The Avengers.
Okay.
And people will pick that apart to no end.
They'll all caps you on the internet.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just personal taste. Overall, what do you think, Troy? Do you recommend this to the average moviegoer? I mean, everyone's going to see it already.
Yeah. But, I mean, it's Batman and Superman, and even with the negative publicity, I went to go see the remake of Fantastic Four. Just because I heard, like, it was so bad that you had to see it.
At that point, you're like, well, how bad can it be? Let's see.
And so even if that strikes your fancy, go see it. I mean, it's 3 years in the making. It's this huge thing. People are going to be talking about it. You probably want to be in on it anyway.
It's funny you compare it to Fantastic Four, because I don't feel like I've seen a movie receive this level of hate on the internet since Fantastic Four.
That's true.
People are jumping on this, man. And it not without a couple real cases, you know, like there's a couple moments. Yes, you can pick it apart. I don't think it deserves what it's getting right now. Do you?
Yeah,
all right,
I think it gets current rating. I think it's a 30% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Mm-hmm.
I would say maybe 35. 40.
No way, really?
I had a bad taste in my mouth when I left that movie.
Wow.
I know.
All right.
I didn't want to, but I did. Yeah.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
Yeah, who'd have thunk it?
You know, I thought this might be the big one for the year.
So far, it's Deadpool.
Deadpool. Wouldn't it be crazy if it never gets better than Deadpool? Early February and just call it from there.
Yeah.
I think Civil War is probably going to take it, you know.
I would say so.
Civil War, it's got the humor, it's got the action, it's got the fun.
Yeah.
This didn't have fun, you know.
But
that's all right.
Not so much fun.
It can't all be fun. You're not going to the movies to have fun.
So anyway, that's what we thought about Batman v Superman. Of course, we're not the penultimate decision of any movie reviews.
No.
So go out, check it out, tell us what you thought down below, and join us next time on another IMPERIUS REX show where we give you everything you wanted to know but didn't know you wanted to know about anything about comic books.
Yeah, we should talk about comics sometime.
Yeah, we should. Maybe on the next show.
All right.
Great. I'm Troy the Max Extreme.
Ghost Hunter Dave.
See you next time.